Hey everybody, I wanted to show you something. I remembered that I had not shown you this. Now, this is the proof copy of Chosen Ground, book 3 in the series. The proof copy means that you order one at their at the printing cost with plus shipping, and they send you the finished book, and you look it over and see what you need to change. And I go through there and I make changes. We do it in pencil, and then I go through my manuscript and change it to fix whatever is the problem in here. Now, but the main problem with this one, it's on my hand, I don't know. The main problem with this particular proof copy was it got sent to me in glossy form. Now, it's probably a mistake that I made. It would probably be user error, but I want to show you the difference in the proof copy, the glossy, the title's a little smaller, and the final copy, the matte copy, okay? You can tell the difference. You can see the reflections on here. Now, if you can see this, if I can get my glasses where I can see. Okay, the proof copy, the glossy one, the lettering is not as prominent. The title is smaller. The subtitle is also in a different font. What happened is, this particular proof copy, it is in 4 different fonts. The series name, the title, subtitle, and the author name are all in 4 different fonts. The general wisdom is use no more than 2 fonts, 3 at the top. Well, I had to then choose which fonts to use in the final copy. And what I chose here, you can see, okay, the title up here and the author name are in the same font, different size and everything. The subtitle is also in the subtitle and the series name or number are in the same font. So there's only 2 fonts, and that is preferable, I understand, over excessive fonts. It keeps everything cohesive. I went back and I changed the other 2 books to match this. Now, I had to have it matte finish because the other 2 books are matte finish. The 4th one, this is number 3. The 4th one's going to be matte. The whole series is going to be a matte finish cover, and the same 2 fonts, unless they take the fonts away from me on Canva, which is where I make the covers. So anyway, that's what the deal was. And also, you'll notice that the spine and the back are, oops, wrong way. The spine and the back are 2 different colors also. When I was getting this ready, I didn't realize that on the place where I upload the cover and choose things on the cover and in the interior, I chose the cream paper and all that. What I didn't realize is they have a cover. They'll have a little color swatch. And what they've done is they've taken a color off the front and they've made the spine and the back out of that color. I didn't know I could change that. I don't know how I missed that, but I lightened it up just a little bit. So when you have all the books in a row and you're only looking at the spine colors are going to be slightly different from each other. Also, one thing I don't have any control over, now it's not like that on here, is the author name on here. Hang on, let me see if I can do it. The author name on here, this is smaller than the other 2 books. Now, I have no control over it. When I pick cream colored paper, I'm not allowed to do the full wrap cover, which means the front, the spine, and the back. I can only submit the front cover, and then they'll do the rest of it. And so I really have no control over that. But I'm going to make them as cohesive as I can. Okay, so that's what I want to do, is just show you the difference between these 2 books. And of course, the one with the larger title and the 2 fonts and the matte cover, that's the one that everybody's going to get. If you bought one of these, this is what you've gotten. So, unless there's some kind of weird mistake. Hang on, let me sit this down. Okay. In trying to figure out marketing for the series, I realized that it's customary to find your comp titles, your comparable things to what you are writing. That doesn't mean the same ones. They don't mean the same story. What that really means is, what is the style of what you're writing? And a couple of people had mentioned the Mitford series by Jan Karon. I'd never read that. Robin Carr's Virgin River series. I am reading that. I'm also watching the TV series. I've gone through the first season of the TV series and partly into the second one. I have read part of the Virgin River, which is it's the title of the first book of the Virgin River series by Robin Carr. Okay, so I'm reading that, and another one that I compared it to after I had seen a lot of the book blurbs and a lot of the some of the interior is Kay Bratt's Heart's Ridge series. So I forget how many, I can never remember to look it up before I come out here, how many books are in that one. So, you know, it's been suggested maybe you should read part of some series that you're comparing your book to or others are comparing your book to. And I had decided to do that. So I went to Amazon and I found book 1 of the Mitford series and I found book 1 of Virgin River. And I have read some excerpts from Kay Bratt's Heart's Ridge series. So I'm familiar with the style of writing there, although I haven't read one entire book. And I thought I would come and tell you my opinions. Because, of course, opinions they differ. Talk. The opinions differ. And a lot of it is subjective. However, I want to tell you my feelings as the author of the Clancy Mountain series. What do I really think those 3 series, Mitford, Heart's Ridge, and Virgin River, do I think that they are all comparable series? Now, I'm not saying I compare myself to the authors. Don't get that wrong. I don't. Just the general vibe and everything. Okay. As far as Virgin River, it's amazing. I'd never seen that before writing the series, and I'm into the 5th book, the last book of the series. Book 4 is going to be published by the end of the summer or the early in the fall. And I am about 10,000 words into book 5. So, and I've got that far without knowing anything about these series, without actually reading any of these other series. It's just that some people have compared it, and I've looked for comparisons. I think I found some good ones. However, when I'm reading Virgin River, even though it differs from the TV series, it differs from the TV series, just like all books differ from their movie adaptations of the book. You know, if you ever have a movie adaptation that's exactly like the book, you got a miracle on your hands, because it just doesn't happen. And so I see differences in season 1 of Virgin River as opposed to, you know, in the movie. So the movie and the book are similar, but very different. Some things are the same. Some characters are different. Their backstories are different, but pretty cohesive. And generally, I definitely get the same vibe. In fact, my Irises in September has a woman whose husband dies suddenly, and she up and just decides to move to the mountains without not consulting anybody. She just decides to get up and move to a very different place than she lives in the suburbs, where she was married and raised her son. And in Virgin River, that happens to this practical nurse, who is the main star of the show, the main star of the book, the main character. She does the same thing. She loses a baby. Her husband have problems. There's a car accident, or it depends on which you read, the book or the book or the series, as to how he died. And she up and moves to Virgin River, sight unseen. So basically, it starts out very similar to Irises in September, and I hadn't read it. I had not read Virgin River or seen the series. So, and then the way the characters in the books, that very, very similar. It's a very similar vibe. Tiny, tiny mountain town. Their town is in California, mine's in Georgia, but teeny, tiny mountain town. So there's a lot of similarities in Virgin River, very definitely. And one assessment was, it's kind of like Virgin River, but with a touch of gritlit, gritty literature. And gritlit is a true Southern, a Southern type genre. It's a subgenre, I guess you would call it. It's like Hallmark Channel without the Magnolian puppies. It's not that. It's there's some gritty things that happen. So in that assessment, it does make sense. Now, I would never want to be compared to Hallmark Channel, but as long as there's that caveat that it's kind of like this, but with a lot of that, I can deal with it. Okay. So there's that. Kay Bratt. I've read a fairly large excerpt of the first chapter of the very first book, which is called Heart's Ridge, and I forgot the other titles. One's Lucy in the Sky, and one is oh gosh, I can't even remember the names of them, but I read that and I went, you know what, this is very, very similar to my style of writing. Very similar stories, similar setting. It is set in the mountains of Georgia, North Georgia. So it is in the same general setting, not the same town, obviously, because my town is fictional. And, you know, and the thing is, I found out that the author Kay Bratt used to live in Georgia, so she understands the North Georgia mountain area. And she writes it very more than adequate. But anyway, so those two series, I see very definite similarities with my series. The Mitford series is a little different. Now, this is the one where two or three people told me that it kind of was like the Mitford series. And how do I say this? I see some similarities, but really only in the way that in the small town atmosphere and where everybody knows everybody, that kind of thing. I do see that. I read the first chapter and I thought, I don't know. And then I thought, okay, I got to give it at least part of the second chapter. And I tried, and I found myself skimming the book. I don't see a style similarity at all in my books and that. The small town setting, yeah, got that. But you know, small towns do have different flavors. What it was hard for me to get past the high liturgical church stuff, because that is not my belief system. And you know, the terms priest and rectory and blessed mother and that kind of thing. You know, it's hard to read for me. And also the style of writing is so different, in my opinion, from the other two series and from my series. I don't see it. Now, like I said, everybody's opinion is different. People see different things in different books. You know, it depends. I mean, if you really like that type of setting, you know, I'm not going to... See, the difference is the people in... I have a hard time figuring how to say this. The characters in Clancy, the town is Clancy. There's Clancy Mountain in the foot of Clancy. The town of Clancy is at the foot of Clancy Mountain, and the characters in this book. Now, this is not technically a Christian book. I saw AI listed as a Christian series. It is not. It is not classified as such. Now, that said, the people in Clancy, there are a lot of people of faith in Clancy. They don't talk about ceremonies and ordinances, and they don't have special titles for people, that kind of thing. What they do is they live a quiet faith, and they live it every day. It's an integral part of who they are, and it just integrates seamlessly with their lives. And it's not something you put names to and you put church titles to or anything like that. Like these people, they have no problem mentioning the name of Jesus in passing, in praying for somebody, that kind of thing. But it's just a natural part. It's natural the way it is set in this book, in my book. And I don't see the relationship. I think Mitford's quite different. That's just my personal opinion, you know. I started reading and I went, I don't see it at all. And I thought, well, it's just, you know, first chapter. I probably have to read the second chapter to get through there. And I still didn't see it. I didn't finish the second chapter. So I don't think it is. So you know, you may, the author does not. I'm not telling you not to compare it to something that you really feel there's a connection with. I'm not saying that your opinion is wrong. I'm just saying that I personally don't see it. But all three series are very popular. And I just feel that I think I'm trying to say this so that if you're trying to figure out if you want to read Clancy Mountain, books 1 to 5, you know, I think it might help for me to tell you how it compares and how it doesn't compare. So, like I said, I haven't read all of Virgin River. I haven't read every one of Kay Bratt's novels. I haven't. But the part that I did read, I went, yep, that's the style. That's the general vibe I'm getting, very definitely. And so, for whatever it's worth, there you go. So anyway, I thought you would like to see the difference in these two covers. And I have a cover made for the next book, which will be out the end of August, first part of September, barring unforeseen complications. Yeah, I've got the two covers there. And I just read out of Brewster's Farm, book number 2 of the series. I read an excerpt, which is one of the, I think, the better scenes in Brewster's Farm, where the main character, Meg Brewster, meets someone in town, meets a guy named Elias, and I thought it was kind of a entertaining scene. And so I went ahead and I read that. I am not going to be the narrator of any audiobooks anytime soon. This accent is staying, and it's really hard for me to slow down to read. I'm a speed reader. I mean, in my head and apparently when I talk, so I had to slow it way down just to make sure people could understand what I was saying. So, you know, I hope you enjoyed that. That was a little teaser, a little thing to whet your appetite, to show you maybe you might enjoy this book. Maybe you might enjoy the first book, the second book, the third book, and the fourth book to come, and hopefully the fifth. But anyway, there you go.